What's going on, guys? K-Pine here, and welcome back. And I just want to start off by saying, I'm sorry, I lied to you. In my previous video featuring this team, I said that Shadow Donphan is better than the regular. I also said that EQ is strictly the better move over Play Rough. Neither of those are true. In fact, regular Donphan is crucial for this team in dealing with Shadow Granbull leads and safe swaps. Now, in regards to EQ, well, yeah, in general it is the better move. Play Rough actually has a good amount of niche play that comes in handy. For example, let's say you're facing an Umbreon or something else that takes super effective from fairy type moves. Earthquake and Play Rough actually do the same amount of damage, which is crazy considering one's neutral and the other is super effective. So why would you run Play Rough over EQ, right? Well, it's 9 counters to Play Rough and 10 to EQ. So when you're facing an Umbreon lead, getting to that charge move on 9 counters puts you on good timing, given your opponent throws a foul play, which they always do, and your opponent has no reason to shield. It's only a body slam, right? You never even built up to the EQ, and that extra damage helps a lot in the end game. Double is an important part of the team as well, acting as a safe swap where its ability to outpace the fighters to a charge move is crucial. And Umbreon, it's the tank, it's there to absorb all the energy, we all know that. Now, what I'm going to be doing in this video is running through how to play out the most common leads and safe swaps you'll see. It's going to be a little bit of a longer video because I wanted to make sure that I covered everything. But if you happen to find something that I didn't cover, please ask away in the comments, I'll be happy to help. In an RPS meta, having a consistent team like this one really goes a long way, as shown with me being able to climb over 500 elo in this single type cup to Legend and the top of the GBL leaderboards. And with that, sit back, relax, get out your notepad, and let's get right into the battles. And speaking of Shadow Granbull, let's get the lead and safe swap scenarios out of the way. So facing on the lead, you're going to want to throw your body slam after 7 counters. It's very important you throw after 7 counters on good timing, because this way it will allow you to get to your second body slam. Your second body slam you will have to throw right away, which is bad timing, but that's fine as you need to get this move off. And in doing so, you more often than not do get their second shield. If you don't and they let it through, that's fantastic for you. But when you do get their second move, you are going to want to come in with your double and throw your body slam right away. If they catch, that is fine, because after that counter damage and double kick damage, that puts it in last resort range on your Umbreon. So a little something to make sure about with your Umbreon is you're always wanting to overfarm and keep as much energy on your Umbreon as possible, so that when the Shadow Granbull comes back in, you will only take 1, if not 2 charms worth of damage at max before you take it out. And the good news about a Shadow Granbull lead, they're normally pretty weak to an Umbreon in the back. So by having that loaded energy on standby and being able to take out that Granbull without taking too much damage, it's very important. So like for example here, they actually bring in their Shadow Granbull as soon as their switch timer comes up. They end up catching the last resort and down it goes. It's now gone. So my Umbreon is now up a shield as well against theirs, and I still have a double. Oh, might I mention as well that when you bring your double in the Shadow Granbull, if they're going to play to the CMP tie of your double, after 3 double kicks, don't go for the extra and then throw your body slam right away. So that way you just get an extra double kick worth of energy, and an extra double kick on double is extremely good because just the body slam double kick spam. And as you'll see right here, my opponent has a Shadow Hypno in the back, like I said, weak to that Umbreon, and we're just able to close this one out as my Umbreon gets to snarl down there. That's a GG's. Our next battle, we are going to be looking at the Shadow Granbull safe swap. This one's very similar, but a little played out just a tad different. Since swaps take 1 turn, you're going to want to throw your body slam after 6 counters for good timing. So you'll throw after 6, and then you'll throw after 4 again for good timing as well. You get both of your their shields this way, and then you're going to hard swap into your double. And as you'll see right here, this is what I was talking about earlier. If they're going to play to the CMP tie, you go for the extra. That extra double kick helps a lot. So you're going to shield up this move, then throw your body slam right away. This will take out the Shadow Granbull, and from here you have your Umbreon in the back, the Shadow Granbull's gone, and your team can potentially put in a lot of work. You just kind of gotta hope it's not double fairy in the back, which again isn't totally unplayable there. There are definitely situations where you can play around that. But in this case, they have that Hypno, and with the Shadow Granbull out of the way, their Hypno and Vigoroth, this game is essentially over. As here, I can just under-tap the Body Slam. My opponent catches it onto the Vigoroth, but either way, if they didn't catch it, that's fine. Umbreon up a shield is able to handle the Vigoroth. First foul play comes through. Will land on the Vigoroth. They are going to get a Body Slam off here. I'm not worried about that, but I will give up a shield just because I have the shield left and might as well. Another Body Slam. This foul play will take out the Vig. Back in comes that Hypno, of which we are able to outpace, take it out with another foul play, and that's a good game. GG's to my opponent. Next battle. It's going to be Donphan into a Dubwool Lead. So this is a scenario where if they stay in with the double, right? They're going to throw that Body Slam right away. And throughout these matches, make sure you're throwing with good timing. It's really something you should practice if you haven't. So we're going to throw 4 counters first, get off his Body Slam, and this forces my opponent to throw on bad timing themselves if they want to get off this next Body Slam, which is fine. I'll give up a shield here and counter all the way down. This leaves my Donphan somewhat healthy and with a lot of energy to threaten whatever they bring in. And they bring in a Kofa, so all I need to do is just pivot into my double, and if my opponent swaps out of this matchup, it's a game over, it's a GG's. And they're actually running Psychic, so a little bit of an unconventional moveset, but it does hit harder than Dark Pulse. But we saw how much that first Psychic did. The Psychic and the Shadow Claws brought me just below half health, so if it's the same here, I'll be able to hang on, get off this payback, and my opponent makes a very nice catch. They do catch it onto their Umbreon, but like I said, if they swap out, this game is over, of which it now is, because I can bring in my Donphan, which has all of this energy, and just go to town. I throw after 4 counters, which is for good timing, land this Play Rough, and my opponent actually gives up a shield, perhaps thinking it was the Earthquake, but that's fine. And I'm going to give up a shield here because I know, hey, I can get to another Play Rough in time, right? But I miscount. I should have just thrown the Body Slam there on the CMP tie, or potentially have gone for the catch. And now this matchup is going to be a lot closer than it should have been. But I'm still in a decent spot here. All I need to do is make sure they don't catch a Last Resort on the Kofa, and I should be no problem at all. Opponent's going to throw off a Last Resort. Here I'm going to overfarm. And this should just about be foul play range for my opponent. So I was going to go for the foul play there just in case they catch. But they make it easy for me. They swap out earlier. And now I'm just going to start spamming off these foul plays from all the energy that I had stored up on the Umbreon. Down goes the Kofa. And here I can go for the foul play or the Last Resort. I have a big health advantage, so I have no issues going for the Last Resort, taking out their Umbreon, and that's a good game. GG's to my opponent. Next battle, we lead Donphan into Umbreon. So here's that lead we were talking about before, throwing the Play Rough as the surprise move onto the Umbreon. So see, they throw 5 Snarls for good timing, right? Puts us at 8 counters. 1 more counter, good timing, Play Rough. And no reason for them to shield. This can only be a Body Slam, right? I didn't build up to the EQ. Play Rough lands, and my opponent is now going to hard swap into a Shadow Ninetales, which I'm going to get a Body Slam's worth of chip and then dip into my own Dubwool. Now, most Umbreon leads you'll face, after you land that Play Rough, they won't swap out right away. They'll actually stay in. And after you land that Play Rough, they are 1 Snarl away from their next foul play. So what I like to do is I'll throw one more counter and then switch into my Umbreon to catch the foul play. Now, it doesn't work every time, but it works very often considering how pressured they are from that play rough landing and your counter damage. And now here, my opponent makes a nice play, bringing in their Umbreon, forcing me to give it my last shield, but I can overfarm with all this energy I have stored. Get to 100, bring in my Donphan, force them to throw, right? So I have all of this energy stored onto my double now. I have 2 body slams and I'm 1 double kick off a third. And my opponent actually undercharges it, wanting to get extra farm on what they have in the back, and it's an Alola. So it looks like I'm only going to be able to get, I may be able to get both body slams off on my double if it's needed. That would depend if I live a waterfall or not, but I will most definitely be able to get that payback off. So now I'm just going to start spamming out these foul plays. I have no shields left, so this Hydro Pump will land. Does quite a bit of damage to the Umbreon. I just need to make sure my opponent does not catch the foul play. So you see I wait a turn there and make sure they don't switch out. See that waterfall animation come through. Now I'm going to load up more. And my opponent swaps into their Ninetales to try and catch. But we hang on. We're now able to get this move off against the Alola. Double comes in. Charge moves do in fact pop up. And we get the payback to take out the Alola. GG's to my opponent. Well played. Next battle, we lead Donphan into the Donphan Mirror. Now this matchup is fantastic for us if you win CMP. If you win CMP, you bring it to the 2 shield, and once you take out the Donphan, you'll immediately swap into your double. But if you lose CMP, this is where having double on the safe swap is necessary. While Vigoroth can sort of fulfill the double spot if you don't have one, I really recommend building your double, even if it's a raid IVs, because it's so worth it. So see here, well, double, if I swap it in Vigoroth, it will get to the body slam on the CMP tie and lose CMP. Double, given double kick and body slam, outpaces to the body slam by a single turn, which allows me to take out their Donphan, save HP on my own Donphan, and still be able to get charge moves off against whatever my opponent's Pokemon is that they bring in next, which in this case happens to be a Muck. First body slam lands, and they're gonna throw right before I get to my next body slam, so good counting by my opponent. Thunder Punch does take us out. And here I will bring in my own Donphan to swap and catch the Dark Pulse. We're counting moves. One thing about Muck is that it's to Thunder Punch, it's 6, 6, 6, 5, right? Excuse me. To Dark Pulse, it's 8 and 7. If you throw a Thunder Punch first, it's now 7 counters to Dark Pulse. You throw Dark Pulse first, it's now 7 Poison Jabs to Dark Pulse. You throw Dark Pulse first, it's now 5 Poison Jabs to Thunder Punch. Just something to keep in mind for when you're in that situation. Now my opponent's going to bring in their own Umbreon. And we're just going to spam off these last resorts in the mirror match. It looks like I do end up winning CMP here, as that last resort brings their Umbreon into the red. I'm just going to take out mine, but we have enough HP on our Donphan, as this, we made sure to overfarm with our Donphan as well, right? So right here, you'll see, I don't throw my body slam as soon as I get it. I overfarm by 1. This makes me only 4 counters away from my next body slam. So if the Umbreon's on their 3 cycle to their foul play, I will still outpace regardless. Next battle, Donphan into Shadow Grimer. For Grimer leads, I like to play this out into the 2 shields, right? It's not a good matchup either way since we're both doing resisted charge moves, or fast moves, I should say. So I'll play this out to the 2 shield. If your opponent gives up both shields and you give up both shields, doesn't matter the IVs here, right? They could have the rank 1 Grimer, you could have the rank 1 Donphan, it doesn't matter. You will always win the 2 shields going straight body slam. And in this scenario, I gave up both my shields. They only gave up 1, right? And I get the full counter down and leave with a ton of energy. In comes the Umbreon. We're going to fire off this Play Rough. It's able to land. So now we're going to load up more energy. Swap. Didn't swap there. Should have swapped to catch the foul play. I didn't. Got a little greedy. But it's fine, as I could stay in here with my Dubwool. We can tank this foul play no problem. And well, in order to make up for that missed swap right there, we're going to do it right here instead. Catch this foul play, store all that energy on my Dubwool over 2 body slams, and in comes a Pachirisu. You don't see this every day. This thing is incredibly bulky. It's a pain to deal with, but with that bulk, it doesn't hit very hard in return. So 2 tanks going at it right now. They're going to fire off a Thunderbolt. We're going to throw 1 more Snarl and then our foul play for good timing. My opponent throws 2 Volt Switches, which is good timing for a 4-turn move versus a 3-turn move, so props to them. They're going to throw a Thunder Punch, recognizing that they need 2 moves to take out my Umbreon regardless, so might as well go for the cheaper one. And now they bring back in their Umbreon, and with all of this energy stored onto my Dubwool, we are going to be able to close this matchup out. I'm going to throw this Body Slam right away as I get it, expecting the Patchy to play to a CMP tie, which they do. And from here, like I said, Patchy doesn't hit very hard. We survive that Thunderbolt, and my opponent concedes the match. GG's. Next battle, we lead Donphan into Vigoroth. Now this is an interesting one because this matchup changes depending on the IVs of the Vigoroth. If they have a very high ranked one, they actually survive your next body slam on 1 HP. If they have a normal one, they don't survive it, and that is fantastic for you. So I like to match shields with my opponent. They shielded the first, I'll shield this. And this is what I'm talking about right here. I'll throw this body slam on the CMP tie. If they have a very high ranked Vigoroth, it will just barely survive that body slam. If it's, you know, just an average rank or in general, it won't survive it. And if it doesn't survive it, that's fantastic for you. But the reason why I'm including the ones where they do survive it is to show you that, hey, even if it doesn't go exactly how you want it to, you still have a good chance of winning this game. It just, you know, is a lot better if it goes the way you want it to. So here I will shield up so I can get this body slam off against that Machamp, but my opponent make a very nice catch onto their Kofa. And unfortunately, this Kofa is going to outpace me before I'm able to get to this Dark Pulse. So my Umbreon here is going to have to put in a lot of work. But that's, again, where I mentioned over farming on your Umbreon is crucial. Constantly. These matchups, this meta, this cup, always have spare energy on your Umbreon. You never know when a Charmer or a fighter is just going to swap it against it and you need to fight back. So here I'm going to fire off that first foul play, and I'm just going to commit to the Snarl down. And there you go. My opponent swaps into their Shadow Machamp. So this last resort's not going to quite take it out, but I can hard swap into my Donphan, get the Simul KO. Machamp goes down, and my opponent concedes the match. GG's. Next battle, we lead Donphan into Dragonair. Now this one's going to count as a Dragonair lead or a Dragonair safe swap scenario. Either one of those, you're going to want to throw your body slam right away as soon as you get it. Doesn't matter if they catch on a ghost type, you have an Umbreon to shut that ghost type down. You'll just build back up to that body slam and swap into your Umbreon to shut the ghost type down. But I digress. Dragonair lead, Dragonair safe swap, throw that body slam right away, and then swap into your Dubwool. as the double kick body slam combination is very oppressive to the glassy Dragonair. My opponent makes a very nice catch of that body slam onto their Reggie, but I am still able to outpace, get to this payback, which does some very nice damage to the Reggie. And from here, I can let my double go. It did its job. It baited out the Reggie. And I'll see if I can counter down with my Donphan in time. If I'm not able to, I will throw a body slam to take it out. It's going to be very close. It doesn't look like I would have been able to, so we will throw this body slam. Take care of the Reggie. Hard swap into our Umbreon as they had a Kofa. So my Umbreon is the win condition here. All I need to do is keep it healthy against this Dragonair and the game should be over. And that's why I'm not a big fan of Kofa in this cup, because Umbreon is everywhere. So Kofa, if it just gets matched up against Umbreon, it's just brutal. But again, if you're able to get onto like a fighter like Sirfetch'd or Machamp or Donphan for that matter, it's a good one. So Kofa in general, I'm a fan of, but in this cup, I'm not, just because of how RPS it is, and I tend to working with stuff that's a little more two-dimensional instead of having that one purpose and one purpose only. Shadow Ball's not quite enough to take us out as we get to this next foul play and my opponent concedes. GG's. Next battle, we lead Donphan, into Reggie. And this is a very similar in style matchup to the Vigoroth one I explained earlier. If they have a raid IV Reggie, they will feint to a body slam and a play rough. If they have a traded IV Reggie where it has better, IVs due to the trade, they will barely survive the play rough. So it's something that you have to gauge as to whether they do or not. From here, this range, as you'll see, the play rough is just not enough to take them out. If you're able to gauge their HP bar to be, just a little bit lower than that, then the play rough will take them out. I like to load up to 10 counters before throwing my move, just to potentially get a shield for faking the earthquake. But if you don't, again, like I said, it's fine, as you can just play it out that way. And now I do give up both shields onto my Donphan, because even though I'm now down 2 shields to none, Donphan is just incredibly oppressive in this cup. And so my opponent brings in their Kofa, and every time your opponent brings in a Kofa against your Donphan, you hard swap into your double in hopes that they then swap out of their Kofa, because if they swap out of their Kofa, you then get your Umbreon aligned to the Kofa and it's just game over. So right here, my opponent actually stays in though, potentially reading I had the Umbreon in the back as that body slam lands. And now I can just bring in my Donphan here, right? We can survive this mud bomb that they fire off. They can't go for the sludge bomb as it is double resisted. And now we're going to throw one more counter on the CMP tie to their next mud bomb. That lands, and now perfect. Shadow Grimer's out of energy. Donphan has more than done his job this match. We bring in our Umbreon and our opponent concedes. GG's. Oh, and one more thing about that last matchup with the Registeel Lead. If you are able to gauge that they are trade IVs and that play rough won't take it out, don't throw a move. Just double shield and counter all the way down and save that energy to put to use in the back, or the end game, I should say. Next matchup, Kofa Lead, swap into your double right away. If they bring in a Vigoroth into your double, every time you save swap your double, if they bring in a Vigoroth against it, play out the zero shield, right? You will get a shield advantage. And that way, hopefully you bait out their fighter for a shield advantage Umbreon to go to work. So now I'm going to bring back in my Donphan. I'm going to counter down, and I'm not going to shield anything, right? The Donphan's line up against the Kofa, like it's got no play anyways. But right here, this is also very important. When the Kofa comes back in, don't swap into your Umbreon right away. Swap, you have to count their Shadow Claws. Swap on 7. You will actually more often than not catch their charge move. And The reason why they throw right away is for the threat of an earthquake from the Donphan, right? They don't want to have to deal with that. So swap into your Umbreon on 7 to catch the charge move. And now you've wasted that Kofa's energy, and hopefully, right, Umbreon can put it in work. Here's a Donphan of a man of culture. Donphan, Shadow Donphan doesn't tank those foul plays too well, so it looks like 2's gonna take it out. Where the first one landed, this next one's gonna get their final shield, right? But no, they actually let it go, reading that, hey, my Umbreon's gonna get to another foul play anyways, so they might as well use this time to get energy on their Kofa, right? So not necessarily a bad play by them, but just an interesting way to go about it. They take that foul play knowing that these counters aren't going to do any damage to it, but we just barely hang on from the Shadow Ball, get off that foul play, and from there, this game's over. Because since we wasted that energy from the Kofa on our Umbreon before, we're easily able to outpace, get to that play rough to take out the Kofa. GG's to my opponent. Next battle. Donphan into Clefable. Now this one's actually going to be focused on the safe swap as well. In regards to a fighter, a pseudo fighter, something like Primeape or Sirfetch'd is actually a lot easier to play out when they swap in. So Primeape or Sirfetch'd, first off, be sure to throw your Body Slam as soon as you get it. If you allow them to throw first, that will offset their desync, or reset it, I should say, and put them on even energy. You throw first, you're going to stay ahead and you're going to outpace. But Shadow Machamp will actually be able to counter down your Donphan in the 2s. So after you get their final shield, you're then going to swap into your Dubwool, preserve that HP on your Donphan, and now fire off his Body Slam to take out the Machamp. The reason why I'm showing you the Machamp one is because the Sirfetch'd ones and Primeape ones are a little easier. You are able to withstand that counter pressure and get outpaced to your third Body Slam in time. You'll just barely survive, barely hang on to get to that third Body Slam, but you take it out and get switch. Shadow Machamp, those shadow counters are just way too oppressive. They take you out. So that's why I'm showing you have to swap into your Dubwool after you get their final shield there. Now I'm going to bring my Donphan. I'm going to load up on energy and plan to throw just about on the CMP tie, but my opponent makes a very nice catch onto the Umbreon. And you'll see what I do here. That's my win condition. I need a Body Slam on my Donphan to take out the Clefable. My Umbreon is not going to be able to do it. And when the Clefable, and the story of Umbreon, again, always make sure you have spare energy on your Umbreon. Because I'm going to need that spare energy to delay my switch clock when my opponent inevitably switches their Clefable back in. Right? So I'm going to fire off this last resort, expecting their Clefable to come in right now, which it does. We land this Body Slam, this foul play, switch clocks up, and Donphan wins CMP over Clefable. So this Body Slam, we're able to snipe the Clefable, take it out, and now their Umbreon, very low HP, ours would be able to take it, and our opponent concedes. GG's. Next battle, we lead Donphan into Dubwool. Okay, so we saw the Dubwool lead earlier, but this one's a little bit different. Even though it's staying in first, it's eventually going to swap out, and that's what we're going to focus on, the safe swap. So they're going to chip with a Body Slam first, and now they're going to bring in a Hypno, a Psychic type. So this regards to Hypnos, Mews, Kofas, any Psychic or Ghost type that they swap in. That what you're going to want to do is, for specifically this Hypno, I'm going to throw both these foul plays, right? It's 7 confusions to a Focus Blast. So I'm able to outpace as long as I'm throwing on good timing and force a shield from them if they want to get off a Focus Blast, which they do. So that's a very safe shield from me. And now I can just snarl all the way down. This isn't another Focus Blast. I'm not worried about it, right? But I digress. A Psychic type or Ghost type safe swap. They're baiting out the Umbreon so their back Pokemon doesn't have to see it. And because of that, once you take out the Psychic type, hard swap back into your Donphan to save your Umbreon for whatever they have in the back. down goes Dubwool. Now this one's actually a little different. My opponent has a Umbreon. Most of the time on a Hypno safe swap, they're baiting out the Umbreon so their Kofa doesn't have to see it, right? This one's a little different, but again, that's what you're going to be wanting to do in general. And if you'll notice, only 9 counters with the Donphan. That play rough was able to land, did some massive damage. And now we're going to be getting to the last match of this video, where we lead Donphan into Shadow Kanto Ninetales. This one is Ember. So I don't even bother building up to the Earthquake. In this one I do. I know as soon as I say that. But just in general, I throw on 6 to CMP tie them to the Weather Ball. And I will play this out in the 1 shields, right? Donphan does lose the 1 shield to Ember Kanto Ninetales. A little unfortunate, but it's not, because this sets up Dubwool for a 2 double kick farm down every time. And we all know Dubwool with an energy lead is deadly. My opponent makes a very nice play here. They swap out, not allowing me to get that double kick lead, but they swap into a Gradient, and Gradient's not going to appreciate these super effective double kicks either. So it's a good matchup either way. If they stay in, you get a double kick advantage. If they swap out, you can either stay in with your Dubwool, or if it's a good matchup for your Umbreon, since they're hard swapped and locked in, you can put your Umbreon on it, right? Either way, it's a good option to have. And in the back, they have a Munchlax. So this game is looking pretty much over at this point, as we're able to land that first Body Slam. My opponent makes a nice catch here with this Body Slam onto their Ninetales. Should have seen it coming, but either way, we have our Umbreon to shut down the Munchlax, and that's a good game. GG's to my opponent. So I do apologize for the little bit of a longer video, but I just really wanted to get as much information out there to you so I can give you guys a very solid team that you now know how to use for the rest of the single type cup. And as I said earlier, if you come across anything I missed or have any questions, ask away in the comments and I'll be happy to help. But I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I just kind of grinded out the video to get the team out there for y'all, and hopefully it goes well for those who try it. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate you. If you enjoyed it, please drop a like, subscribe, and comment down below. I'd love to hear what you have to say. And with that, I'll catch you in the next one.